about Will Smith being sued by violinist Brian James Kelly, who was a part of America's Got Talent. He claims the superstar Will Smith essayed him, and he believes that Will Smith and had a romantic relationship with Will Smith. So much going on. It's a moving parts as we go. We're learning the latest like everyone else, and we're going to keep update on this. But for this time on Viral, we try to figure out what's going on with Will Smith and this violinist suing Will Smith for SA. They'll be on the next edition of Viral. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you can join us here on Viral. We talk about what's going on with Will Smith being sued by a violinist. First thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Here on Viral, we talk about Will Smith being sued by a violinist, Brian King Joseph, I believe, and he claims Will Smith did some essay to him. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Here on Viral, we talk about Brian King Joseph, who is a violinist who's been on who was on America's Got Talent. Now he files a lawsuit against superstar Will Smith. But let's hear what Brian King Joseph had to say. But he didn't say Will Smith. Here's what he has said subliminally about the star. Take a look.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to talk about something really important. Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. Unfortunately, some things happened, and I can't get into the details of exactly what that was, because it's already a legal issue right now. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that simply for reporting sexual misconduct or safety threats at work is not okay. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have been afraid to speak up, and I understand. And if that's you, I see you. And that's pretty much it. More updates to come soon. Thanks for listening.
Brian King Joseph, violinist who was hired by Will Smith to do his upcoming tour, but that's not going to be panning out too soon. Well, now Will Smith in a leap of trouble. Let's get the latest on our Viral Insider, Mr. Bob Evans. Bob, take it away.
Tonight on Viral, a new and serious allegation is putting Will Smith back in the headlines, this time not for his movies. Violinist Brian King Joseph has filed a lawsuit against the Oscar-winning actor, accusing Smith of retaliation following what Joseph describes as a professional fallout. But the lawsuit also includes allegations of sexual misconduct, which Smith has not admitted to and has not been criminally charged over at this time. According to court filings, Joseph claims the situation escalated after he spoke out, leading to what he describes as punitive actions that harmed his career. Smith's representatives have denied wrongdoing, and the actor maintains his innocence as the case moves through the legal system. This lawsuit raises larger questions about power, accountability, and artist protection inside the entertainment industry, especially when accusations involve one of Hollywood's most recognizable names. As always, these are allegations, not proven facts, and the C.
Thank you, Bob, for that insight, that valuable insight, Bob. Bob Evans always on top of his game, and Bob did so today with the Will Smith situation. This is getting more crazier and crazier week by week with Will Smith, what's going on with him. Hopefully, we don't know what the details is, because this is just a recent lawsuit saying that Will Smith essayed him. And I mean, it is what it is. Well, let's hear what you people had to say. You people had a lot to say about the violinist claims that Will Smith essayed him. Let's see what you people had to say on what the people say.
Man, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe Will Smith did any of this shit. And it's just crazy, man, because we live in a time right now where we're living in an age where these men, not just women, but men are actually coming out claiming sexual harassment on these celebrities, and it's really sad because it's like a lot of celebrities probably forget sometimes that they're famous and they try to live a normal life like they're regular people, but people think that the problems go away when you're rich and you have money, but it don't, because once you try to live a normal life now as a celebrity, you know what I'm saying? You can't just go out with your violinist or your pianist or try to have a good time with one of your backup dancers or something like that. Because the moment you do, if they have a text message from you or they saved a message that you sent them or something from you, they could easily use that in the court of law and say, oh, this person was trying to sexually harass me. This person was trying to mold me and shape me into something I didn't want to be and do something I didn't believe in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe Will Smith did anything, man, but it's easy to make the rich and famous look like, terrible people. It's easy to make them look like the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants the rich and famous person to look like the bad guy, especially at a time like this when we got Puffy in jail for everything he done. So it's easy to make somebody believe, oh, Will did this and Will Smith did that. Like, no, I don't believe that shit. But at the end of the day, it's like it's easier to just pay these people off and just give them the money they looking for rather than take it to court, because the longer you stretch it out, it's just going to make you look terrible. The media is going to keep talking. People are going to start talking and everybody's going to paint you to look like the bad guy. So it's a cash grab at the end of the day.
So, a lawsuit was filed against Will Smith on December 30th by his former violinist on his recent tour, Brian King Joseph. He was on America's Got Talent, and he filed a lawsuit against Will Smith alleging sexual harassment, wrongful termination, and retaliation. Y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat. Let's get into it. So again, Brian King Joseph filed the complaint on December 30th against Will Smith and his management company's Trey Ball Studio. So Brian claims in the complaint that Will Smith was deliberately grooming and priming him for further sexual exploitation after inviting him to join him on his global tour based on the true story. Apparently, Will invited him in November of 2024. He said after he was hired in November of 2024 that he and Will began spending additional time alone, in which he recalled Will Smith saying, "You and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else." So the lawsuit details an alleged traumatic series of events in March of 2025 while he was on tour with Will, in which he claims that he discovered that someone had entered his Las Vegas hotel room with no signs of forced entry. Evidence of an actual threat of violence allegedly included a handwritten note reading, "Brian, I'll be back, just us," with a drawn heart and sign Stone F, as well as wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, and a bottle of HIV medication with another individual's name on it, an earring, a hospital discharge paperwork belonging to a person that was unbeknownst to Joseph. He said he feared that the unknown individual would return to his room to engage in sexual acts with him. So he contacted the hotel staff. He also contacted a local non-emergency police line, and he also got in contact with Will Smith's management team. But he claims that a member of the tour management team later shamed him and told him that he was being terminated. Another violinist was allegedly hired to assume the same position on the tour. So he said that this incident caused him severe emotional distress, reputational harm, economic loss, and other damages, including PTSD and other mental illnesses as a result of the termination. So I'm a little bit confused by this. I want y'all to help me. So I guess he's trying to say that maybe possibly Will or some of his staff put all that stuff in his room so that Will could come back later so they can engage in the oochie coochie la la la. And that's how he was groomed, because Will once told him that he really liked him, spent time with him, and they had a special connection. Is that what y'all getting? Because that's what I got from this. But y'all put your thoughts in the comments. Y'all, if it ain't one thing, it's another. This is Double D Mo for the Black.
I just want to remind everybody that we're not even 24 hours into the new year yet. A lawsuit was filed against Will Smith for harassment and retaliation. And this is the professional violinist, Brian King Joseph, who filed the civil lawsuit against Will Smith after being terminated from his Based on a True Story tour. Brian is alleging that while on tour at their stop in Vegas, When he came back to his hotel room, he found a handwritten letter that said, "I'll be back no later than 5:30, just us," with a heart at the end of it. He said that that letter was accompanied with random items such as wipes, alcohol, a backpack, medication with somebody else's name on it, earrings, and some discharge paperwork from a hospital with somebody else's name on it. Brian also alleges in the complaint that he reported it to the hotel security, local police, and Will Smith's tour management, and then later he was terminated. He's also alleging that Will Smith engaged in grooming and priming behaviors both before and during the tour, such as making inappropriate comments towards him that made him feel uncomfortable. So basically, he's suing Will Smith and the production company for wrongful termination, harassment, retaliation, and some other things under California civil law. Now, just so we're clear, he's not alleging that he was essayed, he's alleging harassment, which seems like it could have potentially led to him being essayed, and so he reported it preemptively, according to him. 2026 is finna be ghetto. Ain't no way.
Okay, so Will Smith is pretty much being sued for trying to fuck his violinist, which I don't blame Will Smith. It's like, if I'm a fuck a dude on tour, I don't know, it's something about the violin, maybe as a dude, that probably seems like the most attractive, right? Soft, gentle, in touch with his emotions. That's why we got to Will. He was like, ooh, I don't get this from Jada. And then there's HIV medication involved. I gotta be honest, doesn't surprise me. Okay, we all know Hollywood is freaky as hell. I think 75% of them got some type of thing transmitted. So, but yeah, it's like Will Smith's clean image. This is big, right? Did he? We was just like, I mean, Will Smith is like, whoa. No, Will, he like nature. He like playing in volcanoes with, jumping out of planes and all types of stuff. We wasn't expecting him to be. I will say this is all alleged. Who knows? He could have made up this story after watching the Diddy doc or something. But
Pray for Gillian Wallow.
if it is true, I'm not surprised.
Will Smith is being sued for SA of his former violinist that went on tour with him. He claimed that he was being groomed for further sexual exploitation. So this is Brian King Joseph, and in 2024, Will Smith hired him to join his Based on a True Story 2025 tour. Now, Joseph claimed that his relationship with Will Smith grew even closer after he was offered a chance to play on several tracks of Will Smith's upcoming album. He says that the two of them began spending additional time together, and that Will Smith would tell him things like, "You and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anybody else." In March of 2025 is when Joseph had joined this tour in Las Vegas, and this is where he was provided a room booked by Will Smith and his team. On one of the nights in question, he says that he had left his room key for his hotel in a bag that was in one of the vans that are transporting crews around. Now, after hours of crews looking, they did eventually find his key and return it to him. Now, when he says that he got to his hotel room, he says that there was definitely evidence that somebody else had been in his room, and that crew and hotel staff would have been the only people that had access to his room. Now, Joseph called hotel security. Some of the things that they found in the room were wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of HIV medication with another individual's name on it, an earring, hospital discharge paperwork. Now, Joseph says that because of all of this, he feared that this unknown individual that had apparently been in there before would come back to engage in maybe more sexual acts. He requested a room change at this point. He called the non-emergency police line. And he says when he told Will Smith and crew about it, he says days later, they started actually blaming him, and they told him that he would be terminated. He has since filed a $3 million lawsuit. This event caused him severe emotional distress, economic loss, reputational harm, and other damages. I'm sure this one's going to be developing daily, so I will keep you guys updated.
It has been less than 24 hours to 2026, and this is now the second lawsuit that I'm reporting already. Hopefully this is not setting the tone for 2026, but let's get into it. Will Smith's former violinist is suing Will for sexual harassment, wrongful termination, and retaliation. This is the former violinist. His name is Brian King Joseph, and he filed this lawsuit with the LA County Superior Court. Brian says that he began performing with Will Smith in December of 2024, and then he joined the tour for Will Smith's most recent album, Based on a True Story. story. Brian says the two of them began spending time alone together, and Will Smith even told Brian that they had a very special connection that Will Smith did not have with anyone else on the tour. Fast forward to March, they're in Las Vegas for a performance, and Brian goes back to his hotel room and sees that someone was obviously in there without his permission. Now, there was some information about how Brian had apparently left his hotel key card in a van that had his backpack in it, and so they had to chase the van down, try to figure out where it was, XYZ. Anyway, when he gets back to his room, he finds a whole bunch of stuff that is clearly not his. A backpack, wipes, he finds some medication with a name that is not his on it, he finds an earring. So he goes down to hotel security and is like, hey, who was in my room? I forgot the most important thing that he found. He found a note on the bed that was like, hey, I'll be back around 5:30, just us, Brian, with a heart. So yeah, he goes down to security like, who was in my room? And security was like, none of us were in your room, but that whole team you checked in with, they have access to your room, so maybe check with them. So he does check in with them, and then he also checks in with the police. Like, I don't know if this man's coming back to my room. He said he'll be back around 5:30, and I don't want him to come back. And then just a few days later, Will Smith's team apparently accused Brian of lying and then fired him. They apparently fired him under the guise that they were going a different direction, aka we do not need a violinist anymore, but Brian says that that's not true because shortly after they hired a new violinist. As part of the lawsuit, Will Smith is being accused of grooming and priming Brian for further sexual exploitation. And then he also is accusing Will Smith of causing him severe emotional distress by firing him, leaving him with no job. He caused him reputational harm, all kinds of stuff. That's the gist of the lawsuit. No one from Will Smith's team has responded yet, but I'm sure we will hear more soon.
A lot of you people are kind of mixed about it and kind of more on Will Smith's side, but hey, to each his own. But this was what we would like to hear from comments from you people outside, just to see what you're thinking, what's going on, and how it's all came about. Hopefully, we'll keep an update on this and see what's going to be next. Thank you all for watching this edition of Viral. I've been your host, Kendrick Dick, saying so long, and we'll see you next time.